Welcome back to Magic Gathering Strat. This is our new series, Pauper Walkthroughs. And this is episode 1. We are going to talk about blue-black trinket control in Pauper. And the reason we are talking about blue-black trinket control first is that it's the deck I have the most experience with. It's also the deck you will see being played the most in the Pauper videos. I thought I would explain what's going on. So this is not primarily a petition for you to play this deck, nor is it a cry that this is the best Pauper deck, but I do think it is. And here's the reason why. When I got into Pauper, I started playing Effect, I had a look at Stompy, etc. Then I told my friend about Pauper. And I've been to the Pro Tour twice, only for a single Pro Tour both times, and I didn't do any results. But this guy, he stayed on the Pro Tour for 7 years. And if you look at Pauper, you will see that not many pros have played Pauper. Pauper is not sold in the way that Modern is, or any other Eternal format. Because the pros are not interested. There has been no Pauper Pro Tour, and of course LSV created Is It Post, or at least gave his take on Is It Post, but no one else has, as far as I know. But this guy did. He will remain anonymous for the time being. I'm not sure he wants me to tell you who he is. And I also promised him to not reveal the sideboard plan of this deck yet. But if this series becomes popular, I will. Please excuse my English. I am Swedish. That's why I speak with like a drunk Viking. Here's a 4-0 I did with this deck. And the idea here with blue-black trinket control, there are many blue-black control decks. There are many people convinced that blue-black control is the best deck in Pauper. And you will see many different blue-black decks do decent results, but not be tier 1 or 1.5 in Pauper. And there are many reasons why blue-black is not doing better, and one of the reasons is at Cloudpost, because it's at Cloudpost and perhaps Familiar Storm. Is at Cloudpost is dominating all the other control decks, and that is one of the reasons why you should never play mono-black control. Mono-black control used to dominate Pauper, but it's a dated deck, you really should not play it. And this is actually one of the reasons why, because this is a mono-black control deck, but it's upgraded with blue. So you will notice this deck is mainly black. There's only one island in the deck, and that's because of Crypt Rats. So this is mostly a black deck, but we draw a lot more cards than a mono-black control deck does. And among our best matchups is mono-black control. It's either mono-black control or Infect. That's our best matchup. And you will also learn during this video that I think that this deck has no bad matchups in the top tier 1 and tier 1.5 decks. There might be an argument that Familiar Storm is a matchup where we have less than 50% chance of winning, but that's yet to be decided. This deck has a winning record. My pro friend has played 450 games. I have played 460 now. And when we reach 1,000 games, I will put together statistics. I'm not sure I will publish them, but if you beg me for it, I might. Anyway, back to the deck. The idea here is that every card should do two things. Every card should net you card advantage in some way. And here is the deck in a more graphical way. I think we'll do it like this. No, we'll actually, sorry, we'll do it from here. The land base looks random, but it's not. Baron Moor is the 21st land. We played 20 lands first, but we realized that that's little. This deck mulligans extremely well because of the 4 Dimir aqueducts, but 20 lands was very greedy. Also, credit for the deck goes to DC Casanuda, who's played a similar deck in dailies for some time now. And we looked at different blue-black decks. My pro friend liked his deck the best and made these changes. He only played 19 lands. And I've been wanting to go up to 22 lands, but my pro friend said 21 lands, and this is the 21st land. We took out a tragic slip for it. And if you feel confident that you don't draw bad, you can go down to 20 lands and put in another tragic slip. The Bojuka Bog is another come into play tap land. You'll notice that we actually have 10 lands that come into play tapped. And Pauper is a very quick format, but it does work, and it works because we have so much cheap removal to take care of the dangers of the first few turns in Pauper. But Pauper is a very quick format, so you need these. You can't sit there and do probes, you can't consult the necrosages, you can't use these slow blow black spells. You'll need fast things. Also, I think one important point about blue-black is that you have to be heavy black and only take the candy, the best things out of blue. Bojuka Bog is needed for a lot of things, and against Izzet Cloudpost, for example, you need to remove stuff from the graveyard to prevent Mnemonic Wall from working, etc. The Bojuka Bog is strengthened by the Nihil Spellbomb out of the sideboard in some matchups, and of course against Tortured Existence that sometimes rears its ugly head, it's absolutely necessary to have Bojuka Bog. So I would never take out Bojuka Bog from the deck. And I've seen people playing 2, and I don't object to that. Dimir Aqueduct, though, allows us to use our Bojuka Bog 5 times, and that happens. That will happen a lot, actually. It will also help us get our Baron Moor back, so we can cycle it when we don't need it for mana anymore. Which is why Baron Moor is such a good card here, and I would love to have 2, but I can't fit it in. 1 island, 7 swamps. The single island is there to be fetched by Terramorphic Expanse, and if it gets land destructed, we are in trouble. But land destruction is not common in Pauper. If it ever gets common, the worst matchup we have overall is Green Post. Because Green Post packs a lot of main deck land destruction, and we are dead to Green Post. It's like a 298 matchup. But Green Post loses to everything, so you will not see that in the dailies. We are very vulnerable to land destruction, but still, it doesn't happen too much. We even win against Izzet Cloudpost, though they have land destruction in the sideboard. We are thinking about Dimir Guildgate. It's not yet available, but we will experiment with playing 2 Guildgates and 2 Terramorphic Expanse, though I don't know yet if that's right. We went to 3 Walter Whispers because we needed 6 targets for Trinket Mage. So this is mainly a Trinket Mage target. And with Terramorphic Expanse, with Trinket Mage, in the long control matchups, you'll find that the deck empties itself of lands, so you only draw business. And this is also, you often Trinket Mage for Walter Whispers. It happens a lot. Often you start the game with Swamp and Dimir Aqueduct, and then and a Trinket Mage, and then you get Walter Whispers to go to 4 mana, where you can do Muldrift, Undying Evil, and then you're safe and have a lot of land. So that's why the deck has so few lands to start with. Okay, on to the creatures. Here they are. Ogre of Skulls. Ogre of Skulls discards 2 cards in the beginning of next upkeep. Also combos extremely well with Undying Evil, and this is our main deck Storm Defense. This is the reason why we sometimes win the first game against Storm. You will notice that we board... Oh, maybe you won't, because I think I'll go through the Storm sideboarding. Or maybe I won't. Anyway, Ogre of Skulls is the main deck response. We sideboard 11 cards for Storm. And we actually have a winning record especially against Grixis Storm, but also against Blue-Red Storm. Blue-Red Storm is a harder matchup and close to 50-50. But we are a favorite against Grixis Storm. And here's one of the reasons why. Ogre of Skulls, Undying Evil on turn 3 is pretty much game. 2 Chittering Rats looks random, and 2 more are in the sideboard. There are some matchups where Chittering Rats is great, and there are some matchups where they are crap. and it'll take a lot of experience to know when they're good and when they're bad. But they are basically card 59 and 60 in the deck. If something gets printed that's better than Chittering Rats, they will leave the deck. 3 Crypt Rats. They have the special ability of never getting sideboarded out. They are always in the deck. And they are so very versatile. You can use them for everything, and they are often a finisher. And they are the trump card against so many decks. And if you play this deck for a while, you will love Crypt Rats. There is a reason why the only sweeper in Pauper is a good card. But it's not as good as the Fume Spitters. We play 4 Fume Spitters. This is a key card. This is what makes this deck a Delver killer. And it's what makes this deck a big favorite against Infect. This guy kills any Infect guy except Sysbearer and Rotwolf. He will kill Delver, he will kill Fairies, he will kill and then kill again. And there's a lot of tricks you can do with him. You block with him, you block one guy, put counter on another, take very little damage. He combos extremely well with Sylviok life staff because you have life that you can get at any time, because Fume Spitter can even target himself. But he is not the best creature in Pauper, because I think the best creature in Pauper is Muldrifter. This card is insane, and any blue control deck should pack 4 Muldrifters. It's also an anti-Delver card, because Delver gets into problems. It's an evasion creature, it's a win condition. Well, Muldrifter does it all, and in this deck he combos with 3 Undying Evils. And if your opponent is tapped out and can't do anything about an evoked Muldrifter on turn 4, you can simply evoke the Muldrifter, cast Undying Evil on it, draw 4 cards, and you have a 3/3 flyer. That's fairly broken, and will win games in itself. Trinket Mage, notice that Chittering Rats, Muldrifter and Trinket Mage all do stuff when they enter the battlefield. And when they get Undying Evil, they do stuff again. Trinket Mage is here to get the Sylviok life staff, the 2 Executioner's Capsule, or the 3 Vault of Whispers. And you'll notice the 2 very important sideboard cards, Nihil Spellbomb and life staff number 2. The Trinket Mage often goes for, he goes for all of the things that I stated, and every time he does, it's decisive action. He does a lot for the deck. We play 4 Diabolic Edicts. These used to be Guess Verdicts, but if you only have the blue mana as the second mana, you really need Diabolic Edict. I've been thinking about putting in a Guess Verdict as Diabolic Edict number 5. I haven't done so. I would replace an Undying Evil. And actually Undying Evil is also one of the loosest cards in the deck that hangs by a thread. Executioner's Capsule, removal that can be fetched by Trinket Mage. Sideboard it out against black decks, and nice to have in hand actually to discard to the many things that MBC tries to do to your hand. Except Chittering Rats, of course. Grim Harvest. I was so opposed to this card. I wanted Unearth, I wanted other stuff. I have a long list of things that I wanted instead of Grim Harvest, but Grim Harvest wins control matchups. This is death to Izzet Post, to blue-black control decks, to mono-black control. If you have an active Grim Harvest and can recurse Muldrifter, there is simply no way a control deck can handle you in the long run. Also, compared to other control decks, we have much quicker card draw in Signing Blood. And this is a card that goes out in the aggro matchups, most aggro matchups. And it's a card that wins control matchups. It's a card that helps you find answers to Storm and actually have the time to find the answers to Storm. And I think this is the best card draw spell in Pauper. It is better than Deep Analysis. That is why Deep Analysis is only 1 copy and in the sideboard. I've been experimenting with replacing one of these with a Deep Analysis. Didn't go too well. Might do it again. Sylviok Lifestaff is life gain. There is some life gain in the deck. It's actually helps our clock to be quicker against Storm. It's absolutely necessary against most aggro matchups, and it's something we can get with Trinket Mage. So there's actually 4 life staffs in the deck, because there are 3 Trinket Mages that can get it. So that helps a lot. With the Fume Spitters and with the Crypt Rats, etc., the Tragic Slip is our removal spell of choice. It replaced this figure. I wouldn't play Doomblade, it's much too slow. You need a 1 mana removal. I looked on Ghastly Demise, but you are not guaranteed to cast that on Glistener Elf in turn 1. This is the kill spell for Glistener Elf and for Delver. Queron, Ranger, a lot of things die to it turn 1. And when you have Morbid, Alamog's Crusher dies to it. Everything dies to it except the Hexproof guys, but even Aura Gnarlid will die to it. Even with an Ancestral Mask on it, the power of Tragic Slip is enormous, and especially when combined with Fume Spitter. Speaking of Undying Evil, it goes on all the creatures. I've been Undying Evil everything. I often Undying Evil Fume Spitter on turn 2. Fume Spit Blight Mamba. And then I have a 2/2 Fume Spitter that can beat down until another Infect guy shows up. So Fume Spitter is very good. Undying Evil is extremely good and combos well with all of our 20 creatures. In the sideboard, we have Chittering Rats for control, for most control decks, and for combo decks to help put a clock on them and remove a piece of their combo. So Chittering Rats is very important in control matchups. Quombay Witches hates Frostburn Weird, and Frostburn Weird is a really good card against Quombay Witches. But they are still in the sideboard. They will wreck Delver decks. They will wreck certain MBC decks. They will destroy stuff with 1 toughness. And I often see them sideboarded in against Crypt Rats, though Crypt Rats is the only creature I have that will really die to them. Of course, Augur and Fume Spitter will die to them, but that doesn't matter too much. Deep Analysis is great against control, but we can only fit 1 in, because we need to find, and there's been a lot of work put into this sideboard, we need to find a lot of stuff against a lot of different decks, and we have a sideboard plan against 35 different Pauper decks. That includes the sideboards. It's well thought through, and we have looked at all the options pre-Return to Ravnica. I can't see too much in Return to Ravnica, so this is very well thought through. If the metagame is Storm heavy, I will bring in Duresses to the main deck, taking out Slips or Fume Spitters. I will keep the Dicts in as long as I can. But Duress main deck in a Storm heavy metagame is not wrong. But if the metagame is normal with a lot of aggressive decks, such as Delver, against which Duress is bad, and against other aggro decks Duress is really bad, but not against Infect. Distress is like the 5th Duress, basically. Echoing Decay against Empty the Warrens, against any aggressive deck. In our standard sideboard against aggressive deck, we bring in Echoing Decay for extra removal. It's a very flexible spell, and it does a lot. As does Nihil Spellbomb. It's Bojuka Bog number 2. And I'm not hesitant to use it to just draw another card. The second Sylvok Lifestaff is essential against aggressive decks, especially Goblins, and Burn. Burn might be the worst. Burn and Stompy are the worst aggressive matchups we have, but we still have above 50% win chance against them. So that's the deck, and that's the idea behind it. Let me know if you have any questions, or if you want to see more of these Pauper walkthroughs. I intend to, as long as I find it amusing and get some response from you, to do more of these videos. But for now, I will mostly do matches. Thank you for watching Pauper Walkthroughs with blue-black Trinket control.